Hello, BookTube, and we're here live for Thursday night. And how's it going there, Mark? Is it any warmer in the wilds of the Czech Republic?
In the wilds of Eastern Bohemia, it is. It is supposed. Well, sorry, Elvis is having a funny 5 minutes. You can probably hear him. It's numerically warmer, although I'm not feeling it particularly. It's supposed to actually get into double digits in the next couple of days, which will be a pleasant change. But yeah, it's not too bad. There's no snow anyway. So
Hi, Nathan.
hi, Nathan.
You've got a book for him, don't you? You were just saying that.
Yeah, that's right, Nathan. Yeah, regarding your talking about was it Christianity in Africa, like in Ethiopia or whatnot? There was a book I was looking at called A History of the Church in Africa. It's 1,250 pages by Bengt Sundkler and Christopher Steed. So it may be of interest to you. I think it was just one I looked up online. So, but it's pretty big, Nathan. You've got a lot on this month, I suppose, or in January if you're reading the Count of Monte Cristo. So,
Yeah, I'm doing that as well. So, and I think this is it's almost like reading another book. I always figure when you read a different translation, and I'm pretty sure this is not the translation that I read in the early '80s.
No, I don't think so.
Because I'm pretty sure mine was in two little hardcover volumes, and I'm sure they were probably 100 years old at the time. I don't remember. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the abridged version. Then I was angry that I read an abridged version. I didn't actually look.
Well, sometimes the abridged versions can be quite long. So,
It was probably 500 and some pages. So it wasn't that short, but compared to they've taken over 50% of it out. So, and if there were any naughty bits in it, they definitely would have excised those as well.
Yeah,
they did that with Balzac for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprise when you come to these naughty bits and you think, oh, you didn't necessarily expect that, because I think didn't really get them from English writers, really, did you, of the period? So I think that's why, it can be sometimes surprising.
Well, there is some in like Smollett and that there's a bit.
I think, but yeah, 18th century is different, I think. But
yeah,
by the time you get into the Victorians, they are very much more like, more suggestive than obvious.
Well, even Shakespeare has his own little naughty bits.
Well, yeah, Shakespeare, I would expect it. Chaucer definitely does. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, what we were talking about there was the Historathon that's happening, Historathon 2023. You know more about it, Mark. You're one of the co-hosts, so.
Yes. For my sins, I am. Historathon 2023 is a year-long reading event established by Vin from Revenant Reads, and it's literally just going through. Hi, Summer. It's literally just going through the global history 3 months at a time, from January to March. Is it January to March is prehistory to 500 AD. April to June is 500 AD to 1500. Then 1500 to 1820, and then the last 3 months of the year, 1820 to the present day. And you just read something that falls within the corresponding period to take part. So, yeah, it's a simple idea, but I think will prove to be very popular because it will get a lot of people reading history books they may own and haven't read yet, or hopefully even get some people who've been a bit wary of history to give it a go. Using the Voxer group and stuff as support for that, because I think there are a lot of knowledgeable people there. Certainly a lot more people who are a lot more knowledgeable than I am. And I like to think I'm fairly knowledgeable on history. So even I've been able to learn a couple of things. So it sounds very arrogant, that, but you know what I mean. So.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
'cause my sort of knowledge of the history, like ancient history, is probably 40 years out of date, pretty well, 30 to 40 years. I'm not that up on the new stuff.
well, I mean, you've just got first-hand knowledge, haven't you?
What are you trying to say?
I don't know.
Because I know I've turned, because you sent me that, because we were trying to find a video that I did with some ancient Near Eastern books. Couldn't find it, but Mark sends me something that was from middle of March last year. That was while I was still recovering from COVID, and I still had black in my beard, and my hair was dark. It's like, crikey! Thanks for that, Mark, to remind me.
Well, I mean, it might not have been the COVID. It might have just been hanging out with me. So let's
I
send
don't
you
know
Greg.
when I have
You
to.
know, I'm going the same way. So
Yeah, I have to search through the videos and see where, as like, there was a cutoff point where I went from dark to gray, complete. Like, I mean, just it must have been like
it's kind
overnight.
of funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, a space of like 3 days or something between the videos, and
Jeez.
you are. Well, it's just you're undergoing the process of transformation to Santa Claus, right? So
Well, see, that's they're after me for that.
oh dear, Elvis playing with his new. He's got a load of new presents, so.
Are you still opening them every day for him?
Yeah. We haven't done one. We didn't do one yesterday, and we haven't done today's yet because it's a bit silly to completely overwhelm him with stuff. But pretty much, yeah, we're gonna try and get through one a day. So, and it's
Yeah.
kind of funny because I don't really. I mean, I wrap them, but I don't wrap them like I would if I was wrapping for a person. Of course, yeah, I leave it quite loose because otherwise it's more challenging for him. But I think he enjoys it. It's kind of funny, like watching him because you'll like take a bite out of the paper, and I don't know if you've ever seen dogs. They don't really have the reflex to spit properly.
Mm.
It's like they kind of just try to drop it from their mouths, and of course the
Yeah.
paper's a bit sticky, and sometimes the paws up, and it can be quite amusing. So
We need to do is put it, wrap it for him, show him what it is, wrap it for him, and then put it in a box, and then lock the box and say, "Here's the key, Elvis."
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Hi, Stephanie. Hello, guys. Oh, I can't even barely read that. I'll read it on the other side.
I can read it if you want.
You read it because it's.
Hello, guys. I often can't do these at work at this time. Your Historathon recommendations are killing me as they send me down rabbit holes for new books. Yes, I thought that would be the danger of this. Even for me, I have to say it's hard, isn't it, to keep up with all the wonderful books that you can find when you take part in an event like this. So
yeah, well, I'm sticking to one continent and a general sort of and more specific as we get closer to this time. So, Africa.
and what was the reason for that?
I just wanted to get back into reading my Africa stuff. Like, most of it's way up there out of the thing, but it's mostly Zulu stuff. But I have some other general ones, and I just figured, well, I might as well combine it with this because I wanted to get back into reading it because I stopped once 2021 sort of got going, and I was stopping.
My female relatives used to like to point out grey hairs if they saw in beard, which didn't bother me. It bothered them greatly when I pointed out how old it meant they were. Yeah, well, that's it.
That's good, yeah. But yeah, for so many years, I used to have a black sort of stripe down the center.
So you had like a badger beard.
Yeah.
Mm.
And for a long time, and I still got, it's a little dark, slightly. Well, I got a rash there, but I got on the cheeks. It used to be a little darker, but I used to have this black, and then all of a sudden I noticed that it was gone, and it probably was a slow process. But even in March, I think I still had some black in the beard.
Yeah, I like that, the badger beard.
But yeah, no, like I'm looking forward to this historathon because, as I say, I wanted to get back into reading history, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to join something else. But it's so it's because it's over 3 months each thing. Then I'll do it, even though I'm probably getting a book that's biting off more than I can chew at the moment. But we'll see. And I was just going to say for December, for the more recent, I do have a book and I found it, which was good. It is a general history of Africa from 1945, I think, the present. So that'll be kind of cool.
I think for me, if I don't think about it in too much detail, I think I've taken on a lot and all this stuff, but I don't think I have because one, I mean, my TBR looked quite ambitious, but it is over 3 months.
Yeah.
And and 3 of the books I mentioned, I plan to read over the course of the year. So like that Simon Sebag Montefiore one, I'm literally going to divide it up and read part of it every month till the end of the year. So, it's not, when you look at it like that, it's not a big challenge. I can do the month's required reading for that probably within a couple of hours of one day. And I think with regards to some of the other events going on, like we were talking before about the pirate, the Great Pirate, no, the Great Pirate Project. Yeah, that's right. I suppose it's meant to be throughout the year, but I'm sure if I come across ancient pirates within the course of the first 3 months of this year, then that can kind of count towards that a little bit. Otherwise,
you could do. I was going to say you could shoehorn in probably the Sea Peoples.
Exactly something like that. So I can, and especially when we get up to the summer. Is it the summer? Probably, yeah, 1500 to 1820. There will be a lot of pirate things I can read. It will also fit in as well with August of Adventures this year, which will be on it. When I say people, when I'm speaking about this year, I'm now speaking about 2023. I just can't get over saying next year now when it's so close. But we plan, don't we? We'll talk more about it near the time, but we plan to be more set in the non-fiction for August of Adventures this year. Yeah. And I think that gives us some, good leeway to combine it also with Historathon. So I think, yeah, it looks ambitious, but it won't be too bad. And then some of the books, like I mentioned, John Mann, his book Terracotta Army, which I talked about earlier. So it's one of these where I don't know if you can see, it's a very easy read. It's like, what do you call it? Those airport paperback kind of, read it on a plane kind of thing. And he's interesting. All the facts are there. It's not necessarily super scholarly, but it's it's good fun and gives you basic information. So that would take a day probably if I'm ambitious, maybe 2. So it's not. Yeah, I'm not feeling too bad about it.
Yeah, I've got a massive TBR for the year, but it looks massive like when I talk about it for the whole year, but each month or each week, if I break it down, it's really not that bad. But it all depends on my health, and that's the thing. So I'm going to lose days or weeks here or there. I know that for a fact. But at least with some of these, like the Pirate Project or the History one, I still got extra time. But yeah, Nathan was saying something there.
About was it white hairs? Is some white hairs that are much longer than the other hairs on his head, and his mum sometimes mentions them.
Well, what I find was when I started getting the white hairs, they'd be like wires; they'd stick out.
Nathan also says, I'd love to read lots of medieval Scandinavian history during the next quarter. So Vikings could be connected to the Great Pirate Project. Yeah, I think I don't see why necessarily. I mean, he hasn't. Mark Richardson hasn't specified it has to be Pirates of the Caribbean, right? So
yeah, they can be anywhere. Yeah,
even
modern pirates, if you want to read. I think the whole thing is if you want to read about the Somali pirates.
Yeah, you got the Barbary pilots. I was going to say Barbary pirates, and then Vikings. Yeah, there's certainly something piratical about them, and also, I mean, combining with Historathon is where you've got Sagalong in that period as well. I think, which will allow a few, some
usually
things
April, I think.
Yeah, so. There's a lot of crossover, and I think it's been well thought out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Like I say, and it's just another push for me to actually start reading back again nonfiction, because since the sort of April, I guess I started reading again last year. It was just fiction because I was having difficulty with nonfiction. I'm still a little difficult with it, but it's not as smooth as it used to be. It's still the cognitive issues, I think, but I can at least do it.
So we mentioned Historathon, we've mentioned the Pirate Project, we had a brief mention of August of Adventure. So those are three things we're both involved in. There are a couple of other things, aren't there, Sean? Such as the other project by Mark Richardson and Faith from Faith and Books. Do you want to tell people a bit about that?
Yeah, that's I was going to say Hawthorne. God, Hornblower. Thank you. That's the cognitive issues. But Hornblower by C.S. Lewis. Lewis, not Lewis.
C.S. Forrester.
C.S. Forrester. What am I? Oh, Jesus Christ!
You're thinking Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe-a-thon.
You take it over.
You know why you said that, don't you? Because yesterday I said, "Oh, I watched somebody's video and they were talking about Hornblower by C.S. Lewis." Yes.
Yeah, that's probably why, because it got stuck in my mind. But yeah, C.S.
It's
Forrester.
like me with Aristophanes.
Yeah, but C.S. Forrester. There's 11 books. One that's not finished, but and they're going to be reading them once a month. It started in sort of internally chronological, not when the books were written, but in the internal chronology with Midshipman Hornblower for the first one. But yeah, and that's going to be in. There is a Voxer group for that. And if anybody wants to be done, just search up my name, ShawnDStandfast, and I can add you. And yeah, do you tip in the UK? Ryan is asking. Yeah. I don't, because I don't go anywhere. but mostly they do. Yeah, it's usually, what is it? 10%? Is that still the normal thing? So however much you want, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of places have it included, don't they? I think.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I know when I went to Jordan, when I was in Jordan, you got your bill, and there was an added percentage for the tip already in your bill. It was like, okay, well, the service was shit, and you still want my tip. I will be taking part, I think, in June on the Range, because I still want to look at myself. I want to look at early American dime novels from the 1860s and 70s, westerns, like the very early ones, and then some more Steam Man of the Plains, robot ones, sort of robot. I won't be taking part in Garb August, because we've got August of Adventures, which is much more adventurous and a wonderful, wonderful event.
Yeah, I mean, it's just personal preference, isn't it? And my preference indeed also lies with that kind of thing. So, I'm sure it's a great event and well run, and a lot of people seem to love it. But yeah, if I had to choose, I will obviously choose the one that I host.
That's the thing. We're doing ours, so it's like I don't want to do two different things in 1 month.
Well, I guess, Ryan, it all depends. I mean, I'm assuming it's your first visit if you're asking these questions. So, I mean, there's tons of things to do, and I'm glad you specified just London because there are a load of things to do all across the UK. In London, it depends what your interests are. I'm sure there will be, you have a nautical background, so you could. If you're only staying in London, you can go to the observatory at Greenwich, and there's a naval museum at Greenwich, I believe, as well, probably. Yeah. You can see the history there of longitude. You also have the museums in London, which are the national museums are free. I think they're still free, aren't they? The British Museum, the Natural History Museum, they are still free for visitors. Still paid for by the taxpayer, so that's fine. And then, I mean, obviously you have the big ones, but they do cost quite a bit of money. Like the Tower of London, I think, is quite expensive, but probably worth doing if you've never been before. I done it a couple of times in my life, and I quite enjoy it. So if you enjoy history, if you have a chance to get out of London and you want to do something naval, then I definitely recommend heading down to the south coast to Portsmouth. You can visit Gareth if you want.
Yeah.
If you'd be up for that. But probably more interesting than Gareth. Sorry, Gareth, if you're watching, is the particularly for you, Ryan, is the Royal Naval dockyard and museums down there where you can walk about Nelson's ship HMS Victory. You can see the Mary Rose, Henry VIII's big ship. There's a few other things there. It's a very interesting place.
Yeah, so that's better than I can do for giving you advice there. And Nathan was saying he's asking about eco-fiction. Yeah, there is eco-fiction that Jace is doing. I'm hoping, and I'm glad that it's starting in February. And I'm hoping to do the first 2 books myself.
Oh, it is February, is it? Okay, that's
yeah,
good.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But I'm hoping to do the first 2 books because I'd like to reread whatchamacallit, Name of the Rose, and I've never read Foucault's Pendulum, so that might be good.
Oh my goodness, I haven't heard of Ecofiction 23. There's so many things. Some, I'm pretty sure, like, not that long ago, I mentioned to you about it because I remember thinking it might not be up your alley because of your distaste for Name of the Rose. But yeah, maybe I was imagining it. Or
getting back to Mark Richardson, though, he's doing another one. He's evil because he's added another one. He's doing the Sackets by Louis L'Amour, which are 19 books. So that'll be done this year in total.
Yeah, sorry, it's eco-fiction, not eco-fiction. If you, I don't know if you meant Umberto Eco or eco, like environmental fiction, because I always say eco, and you said eco, so you threw me even there. So it's like, because it sounds like it could be an environmentally friendly event, right? Yeah. Eco-fiction 23.
Out of that.
But yeah, but I'm sure Summer, didn't you mention the Sackets at some point, or was it just the John Jakes books you were talking about?
Yeah, who said that in a thing to do the John Jakes one?
That was me, because I'm sure Summer mentioned to me something about, or in one of her videos, I can't remember, she mentioned yeah, sorry, I do talk a lot. Yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping by, Aaron.
See you later, Aaron. Have a good one.
Yeah, no, it's I've never read all the John Jakes ones. I've read about half of them, I think, and never in the correct order. But I'm not taking that on.
Thing is, I mean, I really want to run another event, but I can't possibly do it this year. And I suppose if I mention it, somebody else might nick it.
Okay, tell me later.
Well, no, I mean, I love these big, well, it doesn't have to be big, but I love these epic things, you know, like the whole Sackett saga or John Jake's books or, you know, the James Clavell's Asian saga, all these old sagas. And I do think it's time there was a Michener
I was going to say Michener, but I was keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah. One of the big issues being, of course, with Michener is the books tend to be like minimum 900 pages each or something. So it's like, you know, but
well,
I think
I'm very ramped up to reread if I can, The Covenant. That's one of my favorites.
But maybe,
of course.
I mean, we can start planning for 24. Maybe 24 is the year of the Michener.
Yeah, could be.
You know.
Yeah, well, other things that I'm doing, but it's not an event. I don't know if I can say those. But it's I'm doing some series this year, and
you said you're doing something serious this year. I was like, oh, what's this?
I'm doing series.
Yeah.
I'm doing Strangers and Brothers by C.P. Snow, and that's once a month. And there's, I think, 11 books in that. And I'm doing, that'll be once a month per book, and that's chronological of the story. Mm-hmm. And then also Dance to the Music of Time by Anthony Powell, spelled Powell. But that's we once a month as well. And on top of that, once a month is Emile Zola's I always get this wrong. Is it Rougon Marquette or Marquette Rougon family saga? It's 20 volumes, but I'm only doing one book a month, so that's going to go into 2024. But that's what I'm doing. If anybody wants to join me in that,
yeah, because you know nothing else going on.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I have not read Chesapeake Bay. I do want to read that. So I want to read the last.
Let's declare it now. Michener 24
okay, for 2024. Yeah,
Michener 24. So
yeah,
it's on record, time stamped.
Yeah.
Hey, Freeman.
Yeah, Hawaii's good. Yeah. See, I've read Hawaii. I've read Centennial, The Source, Covenant.
There's Caravans. Caravans as well, isn't there?
What?
Caravans is one as well.
No, I haven't read. Oh, Space. I've read Space. No, I've read another one other than that, but I can't. I have to look at see which ones.
Oh.
He did a really short one though. We could start out with that one. It's about a writer, I think. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
But yeah, and what else is there? Are there other? Well, there's other things that are going on. There's Horror Mayhem that's happening that the Bookish Bryants are doing. I'll be part of that. And then Brandy and I from the Book Collectic will be doing. Well, it's hers actually, but it's a vampire for April. It's going to be what is it?
Vampiril? No.
Vampiril. Oh no, is that it? Vampiril and May.
I'm not involved in it. I don't know. So
I'm just trying to remember. Vampiril and May Pyre, but the May will connect with the Horror Mayhem. And then, as we mentioned, we're doing the August of Adventures, and then in November will be the New Worlds November, the science fiction one again. And then I will be doing June on the Range that we mentioned. I don't know if you'll be doing some of that.
Yeah, I loved it. I have to say, it was one of my favorite events. I have to say, you know.
Yeah, Vampiril and Maypire. Yeah,
it was completely new for me, and I got totally, you know, absorbed. I was gonna say sucked. I was gonna say sucked off. I was gonna say sucked off and absolved. I was gonna say sucked in and involved. so I can't say anything. It's the COVID. Yeah, I'm following Sean's. I'm
Get
following
out,
Sean's
boss.
line. Yeah, Sean's line of defense. Get out of jail. It's the COVID. It's not me. It was the
Ooh, there
best.
you
It was
go.
awesome.
There he is. You mention it, and he comes.
Well, it was a great event. I really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and in fact, I would say that at least two of the books I read for that by he's got a difficult name, Swarthout, were probably among my favorites. Actually, the what's the one about the gunslinger who's dying? There's a film with John Wayne.
Yeah. The Shootist. Is it Shootist?
The Shootist was, I thought, brilliant. And then the other one that I read was Cults, two cults about Wyatt Earp, and you see, they were so good. I can't, but they're up there in my top books of 2020.
Did you read True Grit as well?
Which one?
True Grit. Didn't you do True Grit as well?
That's up there as well. True Grit was a brilliant book. Yeah, I loved it, and I loved the Louis L'Amour books that I read. I forget now. Hondo, and others. Yeah, really, it was a great event, Michael. Thanks for that, and I'm looking forward to the 2023 edition.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring in more steam robots for that as well. And early dime. That's what I want to do. Dime novels. Oh, are we doing our September one as well? That's still up in the air.
I don't know. There's a lot going on. I'm not sure. There's so much going on. That's the thing. It's one that we'll leave if it comes up. I think we can do it. But the thing is, you're doing something in March, maybe with Carrie. Is it March?
Well, yeah, that's a 3-hour read.
Yeah, but it's part of that, probably, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's part of the Black Hearts book club, and it's going to be Maltese Falcon, and we'll talk about the book and the movie or the movies. Oh, favorite reads. I don't know. I'll be doing something on New Year's Eve. I'll do a video, but I think it'll be just in general. I might.
What about now? Like informally, off the top of your head, were there any big standouts of 2022 in your reading?
Well, the ones that
asking too much.
No, the ones that come to mind, because we were talking about June on the Range, is True Grit and what's the other one? That's Oxbow Incident. Those were two fabulous ones.
I didn't read the Oxbow Incident, but
that's fabulous. It's a Western, but it's not a Western. Sort of. It's really it's sort of about the 1930s in the Second World War in some ways. It can be looked at that way. But anyway, that and I really enjoyed. I'm just trying to think what else. I reread some stuff. Yeah, Don Quixote. That was really excellent. Reread.
Somebody's in a funny mood. Somebody's in a funny mood today.
I don't think I can't see anything on the screen there now. So, what else? Rabelais. That was really enjoyable to reread again. The Gargantuan Pantyhose. You're doing that this year or in 2023?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, and I've got 2 editions of it, or I will have. I decided to try out this book 1 and book 2 only one, as well as the Screech edition. Summer, I will say for me actually, Pride and Prejudice was a highlight of the year. Actually, not the highlight, but a highlight. I read that for the first time, and I read it aloud on my channel, and it was a revelation. It was one of those things for years. I was like, it's a girl's book. I'm not interested. And I enjoyed it. I mean, it was genuinely funny in parts, and it was a good laugh. Now, I haven't read Sense and Sensibility, so I can't comment. Perhaps I'll read it next year in Jane Austen July, although I have to say Sean hasn't really tempted me to do that. I'm leaning at the moment, it's early days, I am leaning more towards Emma for some reason. I quite fancy giving that one a go. But it's been an interesting year. I mean, I enjoyed, obviously, the reads we did for August of Adventures. Pretty much everything I read for June on the Range. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of highlights, actually. Actually, I very much enjoyed our reading together of Jamaica Inn that we did. And I don't know if Michael's still with us, but I think Michael and Vin and I plan to read My Cousin Rachel at some point. We talked about it because we've read these others, or I think they had already read Jamaica, and I don't know, but we'd read Rebecca together last year as well. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Summer. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I will be continuing. There's some other things that are sort of ongoing for me, and it may take me a long time, is the Jane Austen ones. I do have to finish Sense and Sensibility. I am going to read all her novels in chronological order, but I'll be fitting those in. Also, too, I have I have a second book to read, which I'm going to try to read before April, but it's a vampire one that was bought for me. It's called The Empire of the Vampire. And it's for my sort of, will Sean like it? It's reading newer books. So I'll be doing that occasionally throughout the new year. And also my second, that's another highlight one for this year. I just read it. It's the second childhood one. I can't remember what I called it.
Paddington.
Yeah, the Paddington book. Yeah, that I love that. I really, really love that. And I was able to watch the film on Prime, so I really enjoyed that as well. That was fun. They took a lot of liberties, but fine.
Well, I just canceled my Prime subscription actually because I realized I was only getting because it's coming from Germany. I was only getting the films and stuff, which I don't really watch. So I was thinking it was a bit of a waste of money.
Hi, David.
And I also cancelled. Hi, David. I also cancelled my UK TV subscription that I had, and instead I got a subscription to the Times Literary Supplement, the digital one, and I'm trialing Audible for a month to see how that goes. And what was the other thing? I think Kindle Unlimited was offering 6 months at £24 or something, all in, not each. So I thought I'll try those because I realized I just haven't got time for watching television. So it seems silly paying for these subscription services and things when I'm not using them. And the Amazon Prime thing didn't really give me any benefit at all because the benefits of the delivery and all this stuff, it's only when you live within Germany or Austria, not the other countries surrounding, which I don't really understand because, it's especially as Amazon has a massive facility here, and yet they don't provide any benefits here. But I was going to say, Mike, also, if you're still here, because I noticed you'd planned to read it as well at some point. I know you've got a lot on with your massive challenge, but there is, I'm doing this French book a month thing, and I noticed we had one book at least in common, which was you had mentioned The Mysteries of Paris by Eugene Sue, and I've got that scheduled to read. I can't remember which month. I don't know if I saved it. Yeah, I have actually. I have it down for March, which because it fits in with March of the Mammoths, you see. So I don't know if you'd be up for that, Michael. So
yeah, I'm going to try to reread that. But I'm going to try to follow most of your French stuff. But what else was I going to say? Oh crikey! I've it slipped my mind. Anyway, I can't remember. Nathan said just recently picked up Jamaica Inn from the library at my work, hoping to read it towards the beginning of the new year. Yeah, it's a really good book. It's a long time since I read any Daphne du Maurier.
Oh, I really like her, and her short stories are great as well. Nathan, I'm sure somebody on BookTube is starting. Maybe it's in January. I know you've got a lot on. Is doing a read along of Jamaica Inn. So it's worth reading. It's good. It's good. Oh, super, Michael. Yeah, check out. It'd be good to read that with you, because it's a giant book. So it would be fun to read it with somebody else, because I don't know how many. I know some people are interested in reading some of the books with me, but it's one of those where some people have read some of them and not others, and yeah, I don't think too many people are that interested in the Mysteries of Paris for some reason. So
yeah, it's a really good book. It's like you can see where Les Miserables, there's a lot of things that he took from that, I think. And Andrew saying, yeah, television, what's that? Yeah, I don't have I that reminded me what I was going to say about Prime, because I got a month's free of Prime, and then I canceled it, and then they still charged me. So I called them up and screamed at them, basically. So they refunded that money, plus gave me they refunded it twice. So I didn't say anything. Plus they gave me two months extra free. So I'm going, okay. So in January, I'll probably cancel it, because I don't use it.
And you can cancel it like immediately once you got the trial, and you just hang on to it.
Yeah, well, I did. I did a couple weeks later, because, or actually, I got a thing saying, just a reminder that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks you're gonna be charged again. So I canceled it, and it was canceled, but they charged me anyway.
Well, when I canceled this one, they gave me an option to keep it open until the renewal date, like in mid-January, or a €9 refund. So I thought, well, take the refund. So well,
that's okay.
That's what I thought.
So I got the money back, plus I had an extra £9, and plus I got, I think, free until January. So
yeah. No.
What else have you been reading? What are you reading now?
Actually, Summer and I have been reading our mutual friend. She mentioned it on one of her videos, and I mentioned it to you. And I think, although she's watching this, or if she's still watching this, I don't know, but she's a bit further along than me, but not much. So she would have the opportunity to beat me to the end, probably, while we're on here. But it's been really good. It's one of those books, though, that we both felt that you have to give it a lot of attention. There's a lot going on. I mean, the chapters shift. There's all sorts of subplots and sub-storylines going on, which, it happens with Dickens. But it's given me a new appreciation for Dickens. I mean, it's moved up there, actually, as one of its... I have 210 pages left or something like that. So, yeah, she's probably going to beat me. But it's a really good... Have you read it, Our Mutual Friend?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've read Mutual Friend. I haven't read everything, and again, it's one of those things that I want to do a systematic reread and read through of Dickens. I know that's popular on BookTube, and that's where our Michener, the Michener 2024, or your Michener 2024, is not. So, and I'll just say that again. So it's locked in. That it's going to be Michener 2024.
Yeah, but it's a great book. It's been a great book, and I think it is one that will require a reread at some point. I'm sure there are a few things missing. I mean, it's 800 and, or at least my copy is 820 pages, and sometimes it felt like it, other times it really didn't. So I'm kind of surprised how quickly I got through it. But then when I look back and think I have been reading it since the 1st of December, and there have been times where you just have to take a break, and I think that's problematic. I mean, we were discussing, you might know a bit about this, Shawn, because you know quite a lot of stuff around books and history and stuff, but we were discussing whether or not what it was like, what it must have been like for people who had to wait for the serialized versions. And I was pondering with Summer whether or not they would have done like some kind of public performances. I mean, I know technically they would have had copyrights, but like a lot of working class people probably still couldn't read that well, like in the 1860s still. And I wonder whether or not like some people might have read it. Yeah. Well, no, Summer, the key is that you have to buy it, right? So if people send it to you, you'd be all right, I suppose. Or you can get it from the library, can't you? Because it's free as well. So there's all sorts of ways around it. But do you know, would that have been a thing? I mean, would people have maybe read in the pub to other people what the latest?
There was stuff like, I don't know if Dickens was, and there were actually a lot of times sort of these offhand kind of stage things as well of some of the parts, and I know for some serialized stuff, but I don't know specifically about Dickens. But I do know that people were waiting. It's like there's the story, and I'm assuming it's true, with the old curiosity shop where the ship was coming into New York Harbor or something like that, and the people were screaming, "Is Nell dead?" It's like they wanted to know, because everybody was enthralled by it. I don't know how true that is, but it could be.
Well, Summer mentioned it. I think she thought she had heard something, whether it was again true or not, that maybe somebody was, even fell in the water because of the crush to get the latest copy of it. So
it's all these things, and it makes good press anyway. It's good. It's good advertisements for the magazine and everything to have newspapers write this up. So it's like, did they actually create this? Send a few people out to do this, and all of a sudden the mob and the crowd gets gathered. You never know,
But one thing I never got with that is like the piracy of it all. Like the Americans were big pirates of English works.
Well, because there was no international copyright law. I think.
Well, no, but what amazes me is how it happened. For example, even with the Gilbert and Sullivan operettas were subject to it. So what I don't get is like, whether people like remembered stuff or were sitting at the back in their box writing all the stuff down, or whether these things were, because I mean they couldn't have been freely available. You couldn't buy necessarily the manuscript or libretti so quickly of the latest operetta. So whether people were literally writing down stuff, it's quite funny.
Yeah, well, for the American ones, they just get a copy of the book and just reprint it,
But yeah, but when they're not books, it's
like you're saying. So yeah, somebody must have been there to write it down, or who are performing it, a few quid here or there, or a few shillings here or there, thinking at the time.
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
I'm behind still with stuff. I've got to do several videos, but another thing I keep forgetting is my ongoing, and it seems to be ongoing forever, is the Future History Project. But I'm now in the last leg of it into the foundation books now by Asimov. But I've been reading. Sorry.
We've only got 2 days left to finish The Hobbit.
Yeah, I won't be finished The Hobbit by the end of the year, I don't think. I might. It depends because I'm reading with Nathan Macbeth, and I'm reading the Arden Shakespeare. Well, it's a reread of several times, but the thing is that there is issues with this because you've got there's the text up there and there's the footnotes, and I am skipping the footnotes at this point. Because I'm getting so distracted. So I've finished the first act, so I'll probably go back and reread it, and then look at the notes.
Yeah, it was a similar thing when I was looking through that Nihonji. It looks very daunting, but then you see there are maybe it makes it more daunting, but you see there are so many footnotes. It's kind of what makes it or drags out the length of the book.
And then I sort of get distracted by what's there. And David's saying Hobbit is such a fast. I'm not finding it a fast-paced read. I'm finding it extremely boring. But I'm determined to finish it. So, but I doubt I will. Unless I plow through it tomorrow and Saturday. But I have other things that I wanted to do other than reading as well. So, but I'll see. But yeah, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling the Hobbit. So, and I don't know. I don't think I'm in the mood immediately in January to start Lord of the Rings for sure. I think I'll be putting that off to later in the year at some point.
Yeah. I had to say I'm of a similar mind.
Yeah, well, like I've read Macbeth like 4 or 5 times in the past, but it's just that to read it now, I was enjoying it, and then I was getting distracted from it. So, but what I might do is just like I'll do each act, and then I'll go back and reread it and read through the notes. Some of them where I was reading them, going, "Why do you have that as a note?" It's like I couldn't figure out why. What are you going to share thoughts with us about The Hobbit, or are you guys going to make a video? It's fast if you skip over the singing. Yeah, I guess we could once I'm finished. Are you finished it yet, or?
No, I haven't long to go. I probably could get it done by the end of the year.
I'm not sure if I'll get it done by then, but maybe next week I could try to do it by our next video.
Well, I don't see anything wrong in that because I noticed a lot of people are putting out their year-end videos, and I don't know. For me, it's just still 3 days left, right? So yeah, it's I was tempted because I would put Our Mutual Friend in my top 5 maybe books I read this year. But I haven't finished it yet. So, it could all go to pot by the time I get to the end and be like, okay, no, it's only in the top 10, for example. I don't know. But yeah, I think sometimes if you're, it's better to do these wrap ups on the 1st of January, probably, rather than before before the year ends.
Yeah, I'm not sure when. I was thinking of doing it on the New Year's Eve, but
we can talk about it if you get it done. If you get it done, if you get The Hobbit done by next week, then in one of our lives we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think that will work. Yeah, I've got a couple. I have several things to finish. It's just this week hasn't been. Over Christmas, I've lost several days reading. So, and I've got a few things to do because I'm doing other things with my Patreon. There's the book club there. So,
well, you could adopt the Chinese lunar calendar. Give yourself an extra few weeks.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I've done well for the year. I've done like I've sort of tallied up sort of what I've read, the number of books. Not an exact thing, but I did better than I did last year, because last year I really only started. I read in January, and then I might have read one book between then and May, at the end of January, because of the COVID. And so I did well for that year, and I've done better for this year. But still, it's like if I normally have, um, if I have the time that I should have without the tiredness and everything, I could do double what I did this year. But it's not going to happen.
No, I know what you mean. Singing gives me a great idea for when Mark and Shawn do their live talking about it. What if Shawn sang the songs? Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Nathan.
It's not going to happen.
I don't know if Gandalf sings a lot of the songs, though.
Well, yeah, Gandalf is in there. I forgot that he was in there. But yeah, I'm not very far into it, so it should be only like it's a book that should only take me an afternoon to read, or like a day. But it's some things like the Sense and Sensibility that I'm struggling with, because I read a page or two, and then I'm off in fairyland. Like I just don't even know what's going on. My mind is wandering because I just don't care. I just don't care. And it's not often that I find books like that.
But I mean, for me, it's just I don't know. I find it very interesting, because I'm sure if you didn't change the story at all, but just stuck it on a planet and threw in a spaceship, you'd be saying it was the best thing ever written.
I doubt it. Not the way it was. Not the way it's written. That's for sure. I just don't like the way it's written.
It's written for a kid's book.
Well, I think that's what it is, because you see, I read Paddington, and I didn't find it was talking down to me. I find this talking down. I find it very talking down, and I think that's where I'm gonna like when I do these children's books, more children's books. If they talk down, then I'm not going to enjoy it. But I have to try to keep in mind that you won't notice that as a 5-year-old or 6 or 7-year-old that you should be reading this.
What is the next book for the children's book?
It is Where the Red Fern Grows. That's the next one.
I didn't read that one. So.
Oh, what? Oh,
yeah, I haven't read that one. I don't know anything.
Yeah, that one's a little outside of the age group that I'd sort of stipulated, but it sounded so good, and several people suggested it. So it was suggested once by actually John David, and then a whole bunch of other people said, yeah, that's a good one. So I figured, well, I might as well do that one, or at least get that one, because I got 5, I think. And so I'm going to start going through other ones. But I do want to read more Paddington. I want to read more Paddington Bear.
So I'll do 2024 as the year of Mitchener, and you can do 2024 as the year of Paddington.
I thought, because there's a box set that if anybody wants to, it's on my wish list. It's cheap, but it's $15. And I thought that was the complete thing. But I saw a list. There must be like 30 or 40 he's written. Crikey. Yeah, you see, it's a very popular book.
I never heard of it. I have no idea. I've never read it. I mean, what I really like is the but I think you discounted it on the basis of length, which is the Susan Cooper's Dark is Rising books. They were fantastic books as kids, and I think it was Alice from the Giant Bookshelf had some in one of her videos, maybe on her shelf, and she said they were her favorites as well. And I would love to reread those. So
where like I don't remember those, but yeah, this one's too long as well, or slightly longer, because I wanted to keep it under maybe maximum 200 and a bit pages. Yeah, see, it seems to be a big book. I'd never heard of it.
I'm just gonna see. So the first book Let's see.
Because I wanted easy sort of short reads, and the Paddington, like crikey, that only took like a couple hours to read. Like it didn't even take me, I don't think, over 2 hours, but I did it in 2 sittings because I was getting tired.
Yeah. The first book, Over Sea and Under Stone, is how many pages? Oh, okay. Oh, that's not too bad, actually. Sorry. So maybe I misread it. The entire collection is 786 pages, but that's 5 books. So in the end, it's not too bad.
Oh yeah, no, that fits in size wise.
The first one, Over Sea Under Stone, is only 250 pages. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the
they are
upper edge.
they're very good. They're quite dark.
When was it written? It had to have been written prior to 74, 75.
Well, luckily for you, the complete collection was published in, I think, 73, but the first book in the series was published in May 1965.
Yeah. So yeah, it just has to be around whatever that age, like early 70s, because the idea was to have it where I would have been 5 to 8 years old, So see, everybody's traumatized. Okay. Oh, Old Yeller. Oh, I love Old Yeller. But it is, yeah, it's
I never read The Red Fern Grows when I was a kid because obviously it was in Bermuda. It had quite American influences. We had to read what's it called? Charlotte's Web.
Oh
And
yeah.
then another one I remember was the Rats of Nim.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've never read it. I loved the film. What is it just called? It's something
Nim, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I can never remember if the Rats of Nim is the film and the book has a different name or vice versa.
I don't think the film is Rats of Nim.
But it was it was good. I never read that. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah, it looks good, and I'll be fitting. See, these are things that I'm going to fit in as and when, and especially like that one's going to take. I assume it's probably going to be a quick read, but short ones that are 100 and some pages.
Only 245 pages.
Yeah. So it's on it's a little bigger than I wanted to, but it sounded interesting.
You see, I don't know now because someone puts a sad face there, and I see that it's about a boy he trains 2 coon hounds for hunting. I don't know. I think I'll probably find that sad. I have a feeling. Anything, and especially there with Stephanie referencing Old Yeller, I already now have a bad feeling about the the dogs and whatever. So I'm out. It was hard enough reading South because Summer and I read Shackleton's South, and that was hard, even though I knew what was coming with that. But
yeah, I saw that on her thing, and I thought, oh, this was what she was going to read, and I thought, oh, I'd like to reread that. And it's like, oh, I missed that. Yeah, I guess Rats of Nim is the title of the book. Yeah.
Hey, Carrie. Yeah, I'm trying, but I've got a long way to go.
There's no abuse.
It's not necessarily the abuse, Summer. It's the inevitable death of probably one or both of the dogs. It's always these things. This is how they, I don't know. I know it's part of life, but I just think I don't know. I just don't need it necessarily.
Well, you wouldn't like the Old Yeller, that's for sure.
No. But
good book and a good film.
Oh, I remember the film. The old Disney 50s film. Was it 50s?
So what else do you got to finish up that you're reading?
I'm trying to think. I think it's only those 2 really. I'm probably sitting out Carrie's Black Hearts book club pick for January, purely because I read the book, and although it was kind of my suggestion because we were talking about it, and I said, "Oh, this is a really disturbing book. It will probably go." She read the synopsis and decided to adopt it, and it was probably one of the most disturbing books I ever read. And I'm not sure I really can bring myself to reread it. But I am quite tempted to read the second book, which is, I think, was published in English translation last year. So I could maybe read that if I've got time. But it is a good book. It's just very...
Yeah, that's why, like, Carrie can maybe answer this, because I was wondering why, from the books that you've been reading in that book club, and then the Maltese Falcon doesn't seem to quite fit in there, I don't think.
Oh, I'd say it's very eclectic. I mean, obviously, I'll leave it up to Carrie to give you a proper answer, but because I've done a few with her and with the group, there have been, it's been quite eclectic mix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because all I've seen is, since I sort of knew about it, was all sort of more darker stuff.
Huh.
And talking about dark fiction, I was Nathan saying, I distinctly remember the classroom bawling at the end of Where the Red Fern Grows. Okay, so yeah. So it is. I'll find out. I don't know when I'll be reading it, but it'll be my next one for that, for my reading thing.
Oh, I just got a notification through on my phone, and I know it doesn't mean anything to you, but Pele, the Brazilian World Cup legend.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. That's one football player that I do know about.
Well, he died, so just died, aged 82. But I knew he was very sick. But it's pretty sad. So there we go. Well, still 82 is not bad, though, is it? It's not too bad. It's better than a lot. So
so there's nothing else that you're reading.
I'm trying to think. I mean, there are a few things I could finish off. I mean, there are going to be some books that were started.
Nothing that's dark.
Is there something I should be reading?
No, I said something that's dark.
No, I'm not going to read it until the start of the new year.
I'm choosing all of the things I like that have a bit of dark angle. Okay. Some are nonfiction, mystery, horror, and I guess the Maltese Falcon has those dark detective. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense, because I wasn't quite sure, because it just doesn't fit in with the other one. I didn't, or at least I didn't think it fit in with anything else. So
I didn't raise an eyelid.
So
yeah, I know what you're alluding to, but I think I'm saving that for the new year. That's going to be in my January reads, because I want to properly read it and trying to cram it in. Although obviously, no, it will take longer than a couple of days to read, won't it, Sean? Because I have to process it and
Well, when I got it, it only took me a couple hours to read.
Well, it should have taken you. You don't have to think much about interpretation, do you? But in case we can plug it at least, because although I haven't read it yet, Sean is indeed referring to one of the masterworks of from the Canadian poetic scene, although published in the UK, I suppose, originally, or at least collected in the UK.
No, the publisher's in the US.
No, but I mean the
written in the UK.
Written in the UK, composed in the UK, largely composed in the UK by a well-known Canadian poet, and it is, of course, Dark Passages, Moments of Transition. I don't know if the glare's getting to you a bit there. Unfortunately, that's all right. Yeah, by someone called ShawnDStandfast. Any relation, Sean?
No idea.
So yeah, I picked this up the other day, came very promptly, and it looks really wonderful. So I'm looking forward to giving it a go. And then, of course, I will give it a very honest and thorough review sometime in January.
Don't want honest.
Okay, I will give it a very biased review. So basically, I could put a review up tomorrow then, even if I haven't read it. Just tell me what to say.
So that means I've sold 2 copies now.
Well, if I'm showing it that it actually exists, then you can tell people where they can buy it, right? They can buy it on Amazon. I saw it on Amazon. It's on the book depository. You can get it in ebook format. You can get it in printed book format. Anywhere else?
And Waterstones as well. Ah. Thank you.
Yes, and I have to say, she's being absolutely genuine there, because I mentioned it to her while we were talking about our mutual friend that I got it, and she said she had read a couple of them and was impressed. And I was like, what? So, yeah. I mean,
why don't buy oodles of copies and make my new year really good?
There we go. That's the thing.
But yeah, you can get it everywhere. Smashwords. I think it's on I think you can get it through Waterstones. You can get it in Barnes and Noble. I think Barnes and Noble's only has ebook. I think, I'm not sure.
See, Carrie, what I think, given the fact it's the Black Hearts Book Club, I think one of your 2024 picks will have to be Dark Passages, Moments of Transition by ShawnDStandfast. After all, you haven't had a poetry pick yet, and it fits in with the whole dark vibes that you're going for. So, see, there you go. That's what you need. You need a book club to pick it up, and then people have to buy it. So,
yeah, that's right.
Your check's in the mail, Carrie.
Well, thanks for doing that after so much prodding.
No, I think it looks very interesting. Of course, I've dipped in and read a few, but I mean, is it something I should read literally in order, or?
No, not really. Not really, because it's like, well, they're different sections. There's different sections for that, and the thing is, it is dark because the publisher is a horror publisher, and so they only wanted dark poetry, so I had to give them dark poetry. So, and some of it's dark, some of it's sort of pitch black, and some is not so dark. But is it all dark? That's the thing.
Well, I mean, the snippets I've read, I mean, I would say I agree with Summer. It's impressive, and there's some very beautiful language there. I mean, when you look at you as like this gruff, plaid-clad Canadian rugged outdoorsman kind of look that you've got going on there, it's kind of a surprise, actually. I have to say, some of the language. It's
amazing what drugs can do.
Well, yes. Imagine so. So yeah, no, but I will definitely get around to talking about it in January. Who knows? Maybe I'll even be lucky enough to have one of those lives where I'll get to interview the author. So
good. My fees are cheap. They're low fees. They're low. Interview fees are low.
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit pointless doing it for publicity when it's you and I now, because as we said, people on your channel who want to subscribe to me are probably already subscribed by now, and vice versa. So we're not really. It's not going to do a big thing, but I'm sure if we get someone who has a big channel to talk about it, it would be really, really good. So we'll have to push it somehow or other. So
yeah, it's not one of these slim books of poetry that everybody derides either. It's a hefty collection.
I think the nice thing to say is as well, and it's a little bit maybe snooty, but I do think it's an important distinction, is of course this is a book that you, as you said, sent into a publisher. It's been published. It's been chosen and picked up by a publisher. You haven't self-published it. So it's not you foisting yourself upon people by just, having your works out there. You have actually managed to be picked up. So, that's.
Hi, Gareth.
Oh, Gareth, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your Historathon video. Being a history graduate.
Is he in the group? Well, he hasn't said anything yet.
Actually, that's the point. Are you in the group? You should be added to the group, Gareth. If you're not, I can add you. Actually, Sean can probably add you as well. I think there's no restriction.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it's just, because I don't remember seeing anything. And there's been if he hasn't done it, there's going to be a heck of a lot of stuff to catch up on if you're in there and haven't looked at it.
Well, I'm going to add you now while you're here, Gareth. And if you don't want to be added, just quickly shout out in the comments, no, don't add me.
Oh, he wasn't added, but would like that would be cool. Yeah. So
it's a shame you can't get all the what you call it, can you? The previous messages.
Yeah, that is the strange thing. But anyway, that's the thing. When you get new people coming in all the time, they'll be asking, sometimes the same type of thing, but they don't know because they haven't seen the questions or the comments.
Well, I had to laugh yesterday. I was out. I was at this party, and it's funny because with the New Worlds group, all the action took place while I was asleep, and then yesterday it all took place while I was out. And I never go out, but one time I go out, everybody was chatting for ages. One thing I don't understand about this when I look through the group members is there's one member at the top which is just unknown user.
So I saw that.
So I wonder if you click on it.
Who's the unknown user?
Who's unknown user? Send a message.
Somebody's spying. Somebody's spying.
Yeah, well, you can't send a message to them, so it's obviously just some kind of mistake. So yeah, that's true, Gareth. That's right. Oops.
Yeah, the New Worlds November was really good, but here the problem is that everybody's typing. Because I guess they're all at work or something like that.
They're history geeks. They don't want to speak.
But yeah, no, it's really good. The other one that you did, the football one, the World Cup one or whatever, was really heavy. I do have to apologize. I didn't do anything with that because it's like I didn't know what I didn't know what to do for whatever country I had. I didn't know what to do for it, and then when people start talking about sports, I'm out of there. It's talking about sports, I'm out of there.
I have read, I do enjoy some sports, books about sports. I mean, I'm not a huge sports fan, but I read a fascinating book on goalkeepers, history of goalkeeping, which sounds weird, but it was really interesting. The types of characters and eccentrics and whatnot who have occupied various goalkeeping positions in football history has been fascinating, and I can see you falling asleep just me mentioning it. So.
Yeah, I sort of phased out for a second. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Okay, Sean, Zulus.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing in the Montefiore. You mentioned that in the flap. That I guess he's gonna. So it'll be nice to see a world history book that actually has some African history in.
He, I mean, I haven't really gone through it fully to see how it's all laid out. It's under a pile. I can't really get it at the moment. I can't lift that.
Yeah, the history of witches is much more interesting than.
I can't lift that massive tome, Dark Passages.
Oh, that means I wanted to ask you because Nathan has on his reading the biography of Jerusalem.
Yeah, I have that as well. Yeah, but I didn't.
Have you read? Because he hasn't read it. Have you read that? I ever since that came out, I've been interested in that one, but I don't know if it's any good.
Now, yeah, I have read it. I think The reason I say I think is because I'm not sure if I'm confusing it with something by Norwich, actually. But I think, yes, if it all starts off with the Temple of Solomon, then I definitely read it.
Okay. Because I always, because I've never read anything by him. I've heard lots of stuff.
I've got all his Russian, well, I think I've got all his Russian ones behind me. So he's good. He's good.
Yeah, well, I don't know what else he's. Well, I know the Russian ones. I've seen he's done one on Stalin, I think.
Yeah, it's Red Tsar, the Court of the
Yeah.
Red Tsar. And he's done a book on Catherine and Catherine the Great and Potemkin, and then one volume history of the Romanovs,
Oh yeah, I've seen the Romanovs
and
one.
also a book about young Stalin, I think.
Yeah, it's. I think the world one that you got sounds interesting, and the Jerusalem one is sort of it. I just watched a horrible sort of apocalyptic Jerusalem film that was on I can't remember what it was, but it was an Israeli made film, but in English, and it was sort of a horror film where the apocalypse was happening in Jerusalem.
Well, it does, doesn't it? The Armageddon, Megiddo.
That's what the movie's about.
Yeah, but it does take place in Israel, I think, is where
Yeah.
Is the fields of Megiddo, is it?
Encouraged by trying to do a video on recommended books on the history of witchcraft. That'd be cool, Gareth. Yeah, because that's an interest of mine too. I've got a couple things. You have to include Malleus Maleficarum. There's an amazing new translation, or well, when I say newer translation by Cambridge University Press that was really good. I've got a paperback of it. I believe it does start with the Temple of Solomon. So yeah, so that must be the one you read then.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, he's good.
Yeah, Megiddo. Yeah. But the Israelis bulldozed all the Islamic levels to get down to the Iron Age. For the they did bulldoze Islam, the some Islamic levels in archaeology to get down lower to the stuff that they thought was important.
But the thing is, Gareth, if you're going with witches, remember these have to be witches, at least to start off with, witches from prehistory to 500 AD, right at the beginning for the first.
Well,
3
I do have a history.
Druids, maybe
history of witchcraft. I think it is, and it starts out in ancient Greece and it goes all the way up. I'm missing one volume. I think one of the medieval volumes. I've got a set, and I've been waiting to get the missing one to start reading it, but I don't really need it because they're separate books.
It's frustrating, isn't it, when you're missing one?
Yeah, but again, they're by different authors as well, so they're not thing. But it's just it was an excuse to put it off to not read, and I've been putting it off now for 5 years. I think it's Athlon. I think is the publisher of it. And I do got to read what Stacy Schiff's
Witches.
One. Yeah, Witches. I got to read that. I've got that one.
So it's split up into basically different acts. So like, I'm just looking at it now. Act 1, the houses of Sargon and Ahmose, ziggurats and pyramids. There's poetess, princess, victim, avenger, Enheduanna. Not big on that. Kubaba, the first queen. Khufu and Mother, the pyramid builders. My father, I knew not. Sargon, the king smasher.
Yeah.
Enheduanna's revenge. The shattered head of Sequener the brave. Hatshepsut, yeah, foremost of the women, first pharaoh. Boy Racer, Marksman, Horse Whisperer, Bull Breaker, Amenhotep, Mistress of Egypt, Gold, Wives, and Diplomacy. And, you know, most of these are like a page and a half long.
Well, what is it you're looking at? Oh. Okay.
And that's all I mentioned there are the first 29 pages of the book. Out of 1,000. So it's like really, I guess, a whole collection of like small essays or small
Vignette, I guess.
Vignettes, yeah. But I think that's fine, you know, of stuff that you have nothing, you know, no prior knowledge of. Why not? You know, that's going to get you interested or hooked and then to read more about it. I mean, I would rather read something like this than pick up a book about some obscure, you know, thing that I might not enjoy. Whereas at least this way I can be like, yeah, that sounds really interesting. I want to read something more about it. Or
well, there's lots about the archaeology for Sargon and all that stuff, and like Nathan's reading. Is it you, Nathan, that's reading a Babylon history of Babylon?
Jesus Christ, you and your Babylon 5 all the time. You're even trying to fit it into.
I wasn't thinking of that, but yes, that's fine. You've said it.
Jesus, Summer, you found him? Was that with on some expedition or
her?
Sorry, I meant her.
She did wear a fake beard at times, yes, but
oh dear.
But yeah, no, there's another one I wanted to say. If you wanted something else on, it's Oates is her name, Joan Oates, I think it is. It's one of the Thames and Hudsons. They're short too. It's about the same size as the one you've got on Babylonian history.
Yeah, she was the first pharaoh.
That one.
According to this, yeah.
Yeah, she was pharaoh. She was a pharaoh.
Yeah. But you know, it's crazy. I'm looking, I mean, by page 329, you're on Genghis Khan. And then you have the Khmer.
A big jump.
Sorry?
The big jump?
Yeah, but it goes through like really loads of stuff. Like the Genghis Khan family has its own section, if you like. And then there's a section on the Khmers, the Hohenstaufens, and the Polos. Remember, it's looking at families and dynasties.
Okay.
And then you go through the Katers of Mali and the Habsburgs of Austria fall under the same section. So I guess they're probably, you know, what do you call it? The Medici and the Mexica and the Ottomans and the Aviz.
What about African stuff? Because he did mention Zulu, so he'll probably have a Shaka.
Here you've got the Tamerlanians, the Ming, and the Obas of Benin.
Okay.
So that's African, isn't it?
Does he have an index? Can you look up just Africa and see what does it say? Well, he does, because he's got to pull some stuff in, because I was talking about Axum, which is very, very cool site in Ethiopia.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. Ooh. It just falls into different parts. So
sorry, Stephanie's saying she's got The Woman Who Would Be King. I've heard of that one. I'm not sure who it's by, but I've heard of that one. Yeah. No, I just was wondering if how much stuff they got in there, because usually in like world history books, they've always, I don't think anything in the last probably 30 or 40 years have left Africa out, but the previous ones sort of say, you know, oh, nothing much happened there.
No, I mean, it's got the Asante in it, it's got the Zulus. Here we go. So like it's Act 15, and I guess they follow things around the same kind of time. So in Act 15, you've got the Braganzas and the Zulus, the Albanians, the Dahomeans, and the Vanderbilts make their first appearance. So in history, so you've got like a section on the liberators of Bolivar and Pedro, Queen Mary Louise of Haiti, and the Grand Lord of Paraguay, Dr. Francia's racial experiment, Manuela, the liberator and Cotton King, the Romantics and Modern Nation, Lord Byron's Greek Adventure, and Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Are You Stabbing Me, King of the World, Bolivar, and Shaka, you see.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it sounds very, very...
Well, the Ashante stuff could be interesting in there. It depends, but again, like some of this. See, that's the thing. If you don't know anything about the area, like several of those, I don't know anything about. They're cool introductions, but then the ones that you do know about, you're gonna go, crap, that's too short.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it does seem a very. I mean, I'll have to read the introduction to the book. It's a shame. It's a lovely. It is a lovely book with a lovely cover, and it's got a white. It's actually white underneath. Has it all there in gold?
That's going to get messed up if you take the dust jacket off.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, as well, unfortunately, the paper. I mean, it's got a little inlay there of a map, but the paper is a little bit like that, almost newspapery type paper.
What's the publisher?
A bit frustrating. Weidenfeld and Nicholson.
Yeah, it'll probably turn within a year or two. It'll start turning yellow and then brown.
Well, it's already kind of yellow. I mean, it's that weird newspapery stuff, isn't it? So, but I mean, it's all right. It will do the job. It wasn't, I don't know. Actually, it was a gift, but I don't think.
It was just families, because the book that Mark's got there is a history of the world, sort of through families.
A family history, yeah. So.
Yeah, it looks like a cereal box. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's very bright, but I like him. So
yeah, I might look for someday, or occasionally, maybe the Jerusalem book. There's one I've got here that I bought in 2020. It's a history of Jerusalem libraries, which is really cool, and I've sort of I've misplaced it at the moment. Because it is something that I've wanted to read. And also misplaced my, I've realized I thought it might have been the same Clark of the prehistory of Africa, but it's, he did a prehistory of South Africa and a pelican. And I can't, for the life of me, find it. So I hope I find it in the next month or so. But yeah, crikey, we're still maintaining a lot of viewers here. 13.
13. Well, unlucky for some.
Well, it went down to 9, and then it went up, and then it's gone down, but it's been maintaining for a while. So yeah, I don't know if Gareth's still here. Yeah, I'll look forward to your one on witches. That's really cool. It's not as if I need anything more to read. So hopefully you don't say anything that I'm not aware of. That's the
thing is, you just put it out there, put it on a list, and just hope that it's going to be available sometime in the future.
Yeah, I have thousands of things like that. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm feeling not too bad today. My leg is starting to heal up better, and the pain is lessening pretty well every day. So I'm getting more rest. So thank you. And yeah, it's I don't know. And the nurses looked at it, like everybody's probably wondering what this redness, the rash on my face, but the nurse did say it's probably eczema.
Oh, eczema.
Yeah, which was
leprosy.
Probably well, my fingers are okay. They're not rotting off yet, anyway. But yeah, it's just a part. It's something that COVID does as well. It screws around with your whole body.
It's true.
So what do you? Oh, now we're going up. Oh, now we're gone down.
Well, I didn't realize we've been over 90 minutes. So I thought I was feeling tired. So I was like, oh, Jesus. It goes quick when you're having fun.
So what are you going to read later tonight?
Well, I guess Our Mutual Friend, probably. Although I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna start Les Mis until January 1st, at least. I won't get an early start on it. But I did pick up on because Amazon. I know you're not into the whole ebooks, Sean, but I don't know if they do it in the US, but in the UK they're running the 12 days of Kindle, and they've got some good ones on offer. They have a Ursula K. Le Guin, one of those. What is it? That publisher, Gallants, is it? Gallants.
Yeah.
One of her books for 99p, which good value, I think.
I've read this one just the other day, yesterday actually. I think it was yesterday.
What's the one before that or around that? There's another one.
The Dispossessed. Oh, crikey.
I can tell you. I think
World is the first one.
The one that is on for 99 pence.
Because I'm assuming you're talking about the Hainish ones.
Yeah. What's book? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
Lathe of Heaven, possibly. No, I'm not sure if that's one of them. Left Hand of Darkness is definitely one.
No, I don't know. I can't remember. Memory like a sieve.
The one I want to get is the Library of America, Always Coming Home, because I found out from Jack the rambling raconteur that they've added like another third of the of more stories. It's like reading an anthropology textbook. So in some ways, so it's not for everybody. But yeah, I won't be starting Les Miserables, I don't think, until later in the month, because I've got the Count of Monte Cristo to reread. So I'll probably be starting that. I'll do it over a couple weeks. I'll read like a couple days of it and then continue on. Steve have leprosy? Yeah, I think it's I think it's the first one is isn't it Recannon's World? That's her first book. And I think that is the first Hainish one. But they're not really chronological in any way, really, from what I remember.
Yeah, they gave the impression that you didn't need them.
But if you do know the background and stuff like that of who the Hainish were and how the worlds come together, yeah, this is I got the box set. Oh, yeah, yeah, it is Rocannon's world. I've got to reread them all, and but I do want the yeah, that like even she said that they're not really she doesn't even call it, like people call it a Hainish cycle, but she's always said that it's not really, they're not, they're connected, but then she said there's overlapping and there's other things that are not even connected. So but it's an interesting idea, and like this one is quite good. I've forgotten how psychopathic some of the people were, the characters in there.
Yeah, I can't find it though.
Yeah, Gareth, right. Yeah, you don't really feel the connection, when you're reading them. It's just that you get sort of the like each one you start learning a little more about the background and the current events sort of type thing, but it is over many years. But it's an interesting idea. It's basically another future history type, I guess you could call it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I
The
don't
hell
know
was it?
what, but it must be Left Hand of Darkness, Rocannon's World. But SF Masterworks, it has to be this one or Left Hand of Darkness or Dispossessed. I don't think they've done Rocannon's World.
Maybe it was Dispossessed. Like the ones they've got on special offer: Mockingbird by Walter Tevis, Nova by Samuel R. Delaney. The Samuel R. Delaney one's only 99 pence. Roadside Picnic.
Gatsy.
The Gate to Women's Country by Sherry S. Tepper.
Yeah.
The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Heinlein.
Heinlein, yeah.
Dan Simmons, Endymion. What?
Stephanie's saying Le Guin 2024.
Well, we got Michener 24, Stephanie. The Gwyn has to move. Robert Silverberg, The World Inside.
Sometimes I question their choices, but yeah.
Nicola Griffith, is it? Ammonite?
I've not read that.
That's only £1. So
we keep talking about 2024, but it still don't know everything that's happening in 2023. But the thing is, it's like this year went so quickly. We'll be at this doing the same thing and at the end of 2023 and wondering what happened to 2023.
James Morrow, This Is the Way the World Ends. That's only $1.99.
I don't think I know that one.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, that's Matheson. Matheson?
Maybe.
No, I just all of a sudden my brain is not connecting the synapses to.
It does annoy me that I can't, I can't find it. Once I looked and now I can't find it. So
well, put in Le Guin, Ursula K. Le Guin, and SF Masterworks. That should bring up all. I think there's 3. There might be 4.
Yeah.
That they've done. And it's strange that I hate it when they don't do them all. That's the thing in a series. Well, that's the thing. It's not a series, but they're semi-connected. So
yeah. No, it's very frustrating. I mean, they have a few. I mean, they do have quite a few good ones on this 12 days of Kindle. I mean, ones I've seen around, like big sellers and things on BookTube. There's one Queen Victoria biography by that Lucy Worsley.
I don't know that one, but I knew she did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was tossing up with this, A Village in the Third Reich seemed quite interesting, about ordinary lives. American Prometheus looked interesting. The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer. I mean,
is reading Mrs. Dalloway now. Stream of consciousness stuff is tough for me, but I am enjoying. Though, how do you guys feel about streaming? I like some of it, and I do like Virginia Woolf. I'm sort of in. I've read about 5 or 6 of her novels, 5 of them, I think, and I'm starting to reread and other ones. And Nathan and I, if he's still here, we're going to be doing The Lighthouse in January, and then I think I'm going to go back to. I read The Voyage Out last year, and what's the next one? Night and Day, I think, is the second one. I can't remember now. Mrs. Dalloway's the 3rd or the 4th book. I can't remember.
It's the Dispossessed, yeah, 99p.
Yeah, like any of those. It's like she. She's an interesting writer. I don't really like. Everybody talks about her Earthsea books. I read the trilogy before she even continued it, and I didn't. It's again fantasy, more fantasy than anything, and I just didn't really. I like it when she gets more into the um, uh, um, into the anthropological stuff, like she does in here, because
Virginia
I'm
Woolf.
an anthropologist. What?
It's going to be Virginia Woolf, really? Does she? Uh-huh.
No, Ursula K. Le Guin. Sorry,
I know. It's me being a numpty. So
yeah, maybe March, because if we can hold off until then, because I do want to read. I can't remember what the order is. I think Night and Day is the second one, but that's a bigger, chunkier book. That's about 500 pages. Mrs. Dalloway is still pretty short. It's just over 200 pages, I think. And then, what's the other one? There's another one before Mrs. Dalloway, and I can't remember what it is. Bugger. My mind is.
Yeah, Orlando is one I wouldn't mind reading.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. I think that follows like chronologically when she wrote after Mrs. Dalloway, I think.
I got Mrs. Dalloway here behind me.
Let's look at the her bibliography here. If I can find it. Bibliography. No, that's not it.
Sorry, everybody.
What?
Just apologizing that I'm sitting here yawning.
Okay, so we got, The Voyage Out. Why did they say Mrs. Dalloway? That's not the second one. This is not right.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Bibliography. That's not right. Here we go. Yeah, Night and Day, Jacob's Room. That's the one I couldn't think of. And then Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, and then Orlando. Then The Waves, The Years, and Between the Acts. And I'm way behind on the comments. Yeah, To the Lighthouse. Yeah. No, it's Jacob's Room is the third one. On the other side of Stream of Conscious Writing, I tried to read Ulysses, James Joyce, and felt like I was going to vomit blood. I'm gonna reread that this year. In 2023, I've got a nice annotated version. So
with Alan by any chance, or
what?
With Alan by any chance?
No, he's doing it with somebody else. He's doing it with the Codex Cantina, I think, or something like that.
Oh,
but they're doing it in a time that's not convenient for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the second book. We were reading Mrs. Dalloway after To the Lighthouse. Yeah. No. I think what I've got here is The Voyage Out is 1915. Night and Day is 1919. Jacob's Room is 22. Mrs. Dalloway is 25. 1927 is The Lighthouse. 28 is Orlando. The Waves is 31. The Years 37. And Between the Acts 41. So before we get to Mrs. Dalloway, I'd like to read Night and Day in Jacob's Room. Jacob's Room isn't too bad. It's under 300 pages, I think. But Night and Day is over 500. And that one I haven't read. Nor I've not read Jacob's Room either. So those will be new ones. And so was The Voyage Out. And I really enjoyed that. I was gifted Jacob's Room, so I feel like I have to give it a try. Yeah, I'm not sure what that one's about.
About a room belongs to Jacob.
Yeah, Mrs. Dalloway. Yeah.
Yeah, I fancied that, Stephanie. Both Orlando and Flash. I've got Flash actually as an ebook. I haven't read it yet because I keep
Oh
worrying.
yeah, that's somewhere in there too. Yeah, that's
I keep
somewhere.
worrying it's going to be sad. So
yeah, I got to read that one too. That's not considered in part of the thing, but I forget where that fits in. I'm not sure where that fits in. That'll be under nonfiction, I think. Or no, where is that? It's not cross genre. There it is. That's 1933, so that should theoretically follow the waves. And then you've got, well, she did the biography of Roger Fry, the architect. And then Room of One's Own, Three Guineas, and On Being Ill. She put out with other essays as well. But yeah, so I'm going to be reading. But again, I don't know how concentrated I'm going to be because these are things that are long-term things.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, if it goes through and it's just a normal, happy life until the inevitable, that's all right. But I just don't like any kind of cruelty or anything. So, but I'm sorry, Sean. I'm really. Is it flagging or lagging?
Flagging, I think, is one.
Flagging.
Lagging
I am flagging. I have to say, I'm gonna have to call it a night. I think actually, I don't see once again. I don't even think I'm gonna finish our mutual friend. So Summer's gonna be definitely have beaten me probably. Although she's been very active in the chat, so probably means she hasn't got much of a start on me. But I don't think I'll be reading much.
Well, that's Sterling that's doing the comments.
Yeah, that's probably his. Yeah, Summer's reading and Sterling's doing the. That's right. Spoilers, Nathan. Spoilers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you going to stay on, or are you?
No. It's just thanks everybody for stopping by, and you know where to buy my book.
All good book
and
places.
you know where my wish list is. You know.
Where's your wish list? Down there.
Yeah, it's down there. Yeah, it's in the description.
Paddington
as well.
15 volumes of Paddington.
Yeah, that's actually quite cheap. It's only and yeah, your wish list is down there too, isn't it? I think. Is it?
Oh, I didn't check. So maybe Summer, I'll catch a steal on you then. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow who will have finished it first.
It's well, Gareth, maybe for. I was just going to say, Gareth, maybe for 2024 we can look at Le Guin and do the work. Oh well, yes, but you can have somebody. See, I don't know when I was supposed to do.
Sounds like a crappy presidential race, doesn't it? Michener Le Guin 24. It's like a crappy presidential race or something.
But I was going to do CIMAC this year, but I don't think I'm going to be ready for it, sadly. So
I know you've only got 2 days left. So
well, no, it wasn't going to be till August, but it depends on how much other work I can do. But that's just myself. It's not an event in any shape or form. Oh yeah, you're screwed there, Mark.
I'm screwed. That's it. That's it. I'm screwed. All right, Summer. Thanks you.
Bye, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks so much. Take care.